Okay, let's chant the Mangalacharan. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Narayanam Namaskritya Naram Chaiva Narottamam Devim Saraswatim Vyasam Tato Jayam Udirayet नष्टप्रायेषु अभद्रेषु नित्यं भागवते सेवया भगवते उत्तम श्लोके भक्तिर्भवति नैष्टिकी कृष्णाय वासुदेवाय देवकी नन्दनाय च नन्दगोपकुमाराय गोविन्दाय नमो नमः नमः पङ्कजनाभाय नमः पङ्कजमालिने नमः पङ्कजनेत्राय नमस्ते पङ्कजाङ्ग्रहे ॐ अज्ञानतिमिरान्धस्य ज्ञानाञ्जनशलाकया चक्षुरुन्मिलितं येन तस्मै श्रीगुरुवे नमः श्रीचैतन्यमनोभीष्टं स्थापितं येन भूतले स्वयं रूप कदा मह्यं ददाति स्वपदान्तिकं नमः ॐ विष्णुपादाय कृष्णपृष्ठाय भूतले श्रीमते भक्तिवेदान्तस्वामिन् इति नामिने नमस्ते सरस्वती देवे गौरवाणी प्रचारिणे निर्विशेष शून्यवादी पाश्चात्य देशतारिणे जय श्री कृष्ण चैतन्य प्रभु नित्यानंद श्री अद्वैत गदाधर श्रीवासादि गौर भक्त वृंद हरे कृष्ण 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 हरे 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 राम 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 हरे हरे. Hare Krishna, dear devotees. So welcome you all once again. And today we will be continuing our discussion on Srimad Bhagavatam. And we are discussing Canto 11. And yesterday we discussed chapter number 11 very elaborately. Yes, 11. So today we'll continue discussing chapter number 12. So in chapter 11, Krishna explained or clarified the doubt of Sri Uddhava, making him understand about this conditioned soul and liberated soul. So we understood that being in this body as well, we can become liberated. By what? By getting knowledge, and by knowledge of Supreme Personality of Godhead. And how to acquire this knowledge? By serving Krishna's deity form, by taking part in kirtan, by taking part in glorifying Lord Krishna's glories, and by associating with the devotees, by taking shelter of spiritual master, and acting under guidance of him. So these are the way by which we can actually become liberated, even in this body as well, and being in this body, in this material world too. And at the end of this chapter, or 11th chapter, Krishna told to Uddhava that you are my servant, you are my well-wisher, you are my friend, you are my beloved devotee, and I shall speak to you the most confidential knowledge to you. So please hear this by he. And Krishna kind of completed that chapter 11. In chapter 12, we will see how Krishna is speaking about the most confidential knowledge. And even that's in a Bhagavad Gita. If you see chapter 9, also there's kind of same thing, right? This Raj Vidya. So the first sloka of chapter 9 says like Raj Vidya Raj Guhyam Pavitram Idam Uttamam. So this knowledge spoken by Krishna's mouth, is coming directly from Krishna. So the Vedas, they come out from Krishna's body, right? But this Bhagavad Gita and even this Uddhava Gita, these are actually coming from Krishna's lips. So these are more important than other things, right? And now Krishna is saying that in chapter 9, Krishna says in Bhagavad Gita, Raj Vidya Raj Guhyam. This is the Raj Vidya means this is the king of all knowledge, and Raj Guhyam, this is the secret of secret. Guhyam means secret, and Raj means the king of secrets. So many times we discussed Bhagavad Gita. Bhagavad Gita is available across everywhere. We find in our phone, we find in our anywhere we can go, we can find Bhagavad Gita. But still, why it is secret then? What's something in between this Bhagavad Gita that's called a secret? So now let's see what Krishna explains here in this chapter 12. Krishna says that the chapter name is Beyond Renunciation and Knowledge. So there is something else which is beyond renunciation and beyond knowledge. And let's see. Krishna says that perfection comes by association of devotees. So how can we become perfect in the path of devotional service? How can we become more dear to Krishna? That is the Krishna answering this, by associating with the devotees. So when we start associating with the devotees, when we say once we have faith in the scriptures, then we start associating with the devotees, and then we start doing what the devotees does, basically bhajan kriya. So first is Shraddha, then this comes sadhu sangha. So the association of the devotees, by an association of devotees we start doing bhajan kriya, and then purification process starts, anartha nivriti, and then from there we goes to prema ultimately. And Krishna says what happens by association of the devotees? By association of pure devotees, one can destroy attachment to sense gratification and attain me. So that is the kind of bonus things what we get by association of devotee. So we don't have to try to get detached from sense gratification. It automatically happens. And we don't have to try to get Krishna. It automatically happens as well. So, but Krishna says that by associating with the devotees, it can destroy the attachment to sense gratification, and the devotee can attain me as well. And he says, on the other hand, one may perform Ashtanga Yoga system, and one may engage in philosophical analysis of all the elements, that's called Sankhya Yoga, of material nature, and he may practice non-violence. Maybe kind of basically he can become very good man, right, good person or good human being, and he can practice all other ordinary principles of piety, chant the Vedas, perform penances, take the nouns order of life, maybe sannyasa. He execute sacrificial performance, and he can plant so many trees, perform all other public welfare activities. He can give charity. He carry out severe vows. He worship all the devatas, chant confidential mantras, visit so many holy places, accept major and minor discrepancy injunctions. But then Krishna says, but even by performing such activity, one does not bring me under his control. So one side is association of pure devotees, and other side is all these things. What? Engaging in philosophical study, engaging in all these pious activities, engaging in the public welfare activities, engaging in worshipping of demigods, even engaging in so many severe austerities and vows. But Krishna says it doesn't brings me in control, right? And then Krishna explains about these devotees, how they have perfected this this process of devotional service. He says such living entities like daityas, rakshas, birds, beasts, gandharvas, apsaras, they, and even all these things, even as well as such lower human beings such as Vaishya, Shudra, Omens, and others, they were able to achieve my supreme abode. So there are people who are actually able to achieve it. How? Again, Krishna gives example, like Vritrashur. We have seen the story of Vritrashur. He was fighting with Indra, and he wanted to. He actually invited Indra, so that he kill me, because right now my consciousness is fixed in Krishna, so that I can get delivered. So just imagine, he was Asura, though he was a great devotee, though he was born in a family of Asura. That he was invited to kill Indra, but he was killed by Indra, and he attained supreme abode because he was completely fixed in Krishna's thoughts. And this is Ashura. Then again we see Prahlad Maharaj, though he was born in a demonic family, but still was exalted devotee of Lord Krishna. And like that, Krishna explains more that they have achieved my abode only by the association of my pure devotees. So we see Prahlad Maharaj association of Narad Muni, and he had learned everything within the womb. His mother, Kayadu. So he was in the womb of Kayadu, and Narad Muni, he was explaining this Bhagavad Dharma to Kayadu, and she was getting sleep, but Prahlad Maharaj was within the womb, and he was hearing everything and learning everything. Just imagine the association of devotees, how glorious it is. And he gives so many other examples like, Bali Maharaj, and Banashur, Maya, and Vibhishan, Sugriva, Hanuman, Jamavan, they all have actually attended my abode just by the association of my devotees. And even we discussed about, Krishna gives an example of this Brahmanas wives. We discussed in Canto 10, that how Krishna sent his friends to get some food from these Brahmanas, who this Brahmana was completely absorbed in performing preparing for the sacrifice, and they ignored the talk of the children and the kids, and they ignored them. However, the wives of Brahmanas, just by hearing that Krishna and Balram had came thereby, they gave up everything, and they took so many foodstuff and came to Krishna and Balram. So that's how the wives of Brahmanas are also being glorified, right? And then Krishna says that all these, the example we have given, they have achieved perfection. And how they have achieved perfection? The person, Krishna says, the person I have mentioned, they did not go any severe studies of Vedic literature, nor did they worship great saintly persons, nor did they execute severe vows or austerity. However, simply by the association with me and my devotees, they have achieved me. So that this is basically how uh, someone, a devotee, can go beyond renunciation and beyond knowledge as well, right? Just by associating with the devotees and associating with Krishna's glories, his pastimes, Krishna can be achieved. And even he says about in the tree, Arjuna trees, the Kalia, the cows, and other in Vṛndāvana, they could easily achieve me. And Krishna said the gopi, they were in the exalted position. Gopis, they become so much in pain when Akrura brought me from Vrindavan to Mathura, and they have abandoned everything, right? So simply take shelter of me alone. Krishna is saying to Uddhava that just take shelter to me, and because I am the supreme personality of Godhead, and situated within the heart of all conditioned soul. I am there in all conditioned soul, and take shelter of me wholeheartedly. And when you take it, by my grace, you will be free from all circumstances. Even you will be free from all fear in all circumstances. So by taking shelter of Krishna's lotus feet, we can become free from fear of all circumstances. And then Uddhava, by hearing these things, he says, I heard your words, but still the doubts in me is not cleared, or it's not going away. So my mind is still bewildered. So please explain me something further. So basically, you can see that this we might have this kind of questions. So Uddhava is asking on behalf of us, because Uddhava is already exalted devotee, and by this, again, this is very nice narration that though sometimes devotee explain that though we know something, but when we see spiritual masters or senior devotees, we should inquire them more to know more about this and to get more things from them, right? So that's how Uddhava asks a question, and Krishna says that he speaks about Sankhya Yoga a bit now. He says that Mahat Tattva, by the creation, what happens, all this ingredient for creation, they are nothing but his materially manifested form. So Krishna's material form is all this ingredient what we see. And he says, like when many seeds are placed in an agricultural field, there are so many manifestations like trees, bushes, and vegetables. And these all arise from a single source. The source is the soil. So in the soil, in the agricultural field, we provide so many different seeds, and different things manifested from that. But the source is soil. In a similar way, he says that the Lord, so is the Lord. As the soil, so is the Lord, is the single source who gives lives to all and is all eternal. So all living entity, we all are actually eternal as well. And our source is Lord Śrī Kṛṣṇa. And the nice examples is given here again, that just as we see the cloth, isn't it? The cloth is basically kind of horizontal thread and vertical threads, right? Those are interlocking each other, and it makes a cloth. So as says, just as a woven cloth rests on the expansion of lengthwise and crosswise thread, similarly the entire universe is expanded on lengthwise and crosswise by the potency of Supreme Personality of Godhead, and is situated within him. It's expanding, is coming from Krishna, and also it is situated in within him only. Aham sarvasya prabhavo mata sarvam pravartate. Krishna says in chapter 10, I think it's sloka number 8, if I'm not wrong. See, I am in everything, and everything is in me as well. So Krishna says here as well. And then he gives a very nice analogy of a tree to make it understand about more. To Uddhava, he says, the tree of material existence has two seeds. So this tree has two seeds. What are those? Two seeds are sinful and pious activities, right? And it has hundreds of roots. So the trees had two seeds, and it has hundreds of roots. And what the roots are? Roots are our material desire. Unending material desire are the roots of this tree. And there are three lower trunk of this tree, and these three lower trunks are three modes of material nature. And it has five upper trunk. And what five upper trunk are? Five gross material element. So Bhumi, Anola, Vayu, these are the five material elements. And it produces five flavors. So what are those? It produces sound, form, touch, taste, and aroma. And this tree has 11 branches. And 11 branches are five our working senses, five knowledge acquiring senses, and the mind. Right? 10, and one mind, 11 branches of this tree. And in this tree there is a nest, and that is made of two birds. And in that nest, two birds are living. That is, one is soul and another is super soul. And the tree is covered by three types of bark. And what are those? The body is covered by three types of bark: air, bile, and mucus. And then it gives two fruits and extends up to sun. What are the two fruits? Are happiness and distress, right? So the seeds are sinful and pious activities, and the fruits are happiness and distress, in a nutshell, of this tree, right? And then Krishna says that those who are lusty after material enjoyment and dedicated to family life enjoy one of the tree's fruit, and those who are busy trying to enjoy the company of beautiful women, money, and other luxurious aspect of illusion enjoy the fruit of unhappiness. Just imagine Krishna saying it's all our fruits of unhappiness. And swan-like men in the renounced order of life, they enjoy the other fruit. So one fruit is unhappiness and one fruit is happiness. So those who are liberated soul, they enjoy the other fruit, happiness. And those who think that I am enjoying with all this luxurious aspects of life, they are actually enjoying the fruits of unhappiness. Because why? Because it actually binding us. Though we might think I am enjoying now, but actually it's binding us, isn't it? And then Krishna says that those who have renounced material goals, they have taken the path of spiritual enjoyment, they are enjoying the real fruit. And one who, with the help of a bona fide spiritual master, can understand this tree to be a manifestation of the potency of the Supreme Personality of Godhead. Right? Or this is basically supreme truth, and appearing in many forms, and they actually know the meaning of Vedic literature. So basically the point is, the spiritual masters, he knows the conclusion of Vedic literature. We'll see it again. Krishna says in I think it's chapter 17 or 18, the same thing as well. So the basis of everything is understanding Krishna's potency, trying to understand Krishna. So if however, the point is basically, if one can see the Supreme Lord as the ultimate cause of everything, then his knowledge is perfect. Otherwise, if one is entangled in Vedic rituals and just doing Vedic speculations without the knowledge of Supreme Lord, or without connecting things to Supreme Lord, he has not achieved the perfection of life. Right? That's how Krishna says that what is the ultimate, or what is the beyond renunciation and knowledge, is basically the association of the devotees, as in nutshell in this chapter. So even in, I think in earlier in Canto 10, chapter 3 also, there is a nice analogy of tree and this body had happened. This body is has two kinds of fruits, happiness and suffering. And it has three roots, these three modes of nature. It has four tests. Four tests basically are religion, dharma, artha, kam, moksha. These are the four tests, and the five senses for acquiring knowledge. And it has six circumstances, like lamentation, illusion, old age, death, hunger and thirst. It has 7 layers: skin, blood, muscles, fat, bone and others. It got 8 branches, and it has 9 holes, and then it has 10 leaves. These 10 leaves are basically the air which flows in this body. And there are 2 birds. The 2 birds are individual soul, and the another is super soul. So this is how Krishna explains to Uddhava that how can someone go beyond these things, beyond everything, how? By taking shelter of or associating with the Krishna's devotee. And then we'll continue chapter 13. There is a nice incarnation of Lord Krishna has been explained. Chapter 13 says, the Haṁsa-avatāra and answers the questions of son of Brahmā. So then Krishna, he explains to Uddhava about how the human being, they are overwhelmed by sense gratification, and they become bound by the 3 modes of nature, and how to renounce these 3 modes is very difficult, isn't it? If we don't have the knowledge, we just yesterday, the knowledge is very, very important, because when we have the knowledge, we can cut down the knots, right? So now the Lord, he describes that how he appeared in the form of Haṁsa before Brahmā and his 4 sons headed by Sanaka, and he revealed them confidence and truth. So Lord says that how we can conquer these 3 modes. So Krishna says 3 modes is pertain to material intelligence, not to the soul. Very first thing. So these three modes are actually connected towards our material things, not to the soul. Soul is beyond these 3 modes. And even in these 3 modes, the passion, ignorance and goodness, Krishna says by the mode of goodness, one can conquer the other 2s. So every living being has, we all are actually bound by these 3 modes: mode of passion, mode of goodness and mode of ignorance. And mode of goodness is the one which makes the gate, which makes the which opens the door for higher thing. And by mode of goodness, one can conquer the other 2s, passion and ignorance, right? And Krishna says by cultivation of pure goodness, even mode of goodness can be conquered. So we know about 3 modes: mode of sattva, raja and tamas, goodness, passion, ignorance. But there is a 4th mode. What that 4th mode is called as Suddha Sattva, or pure goodness. Because even if a person is in mode of goodness, he is a very, very well behaved person, very, very humble and everything, but still he is bound in this material world. So to transcend this, person has to cultivate pure goodness, that is Suddha Sattva, where in this pure goodness there is not trace of passion and ignorance. But in mode of goodness, there might be trace of passion and ignorance, because what happens, these 3 modes, they always fight within us, and depending upon the time and circumstances, one mode becomes prominent than other 2. Krishna explains this in Bhagavad Gita chapter 14 and 17 very clearly, about all the activities can be classified in these 3 modes. All the activities, even bhakti, can be classified in 3 modes. passion, goodness, and ignorance. Now, what to speak about other things, right? So Krishna is saying the persons should try to elevate himself towards mode of goodness first, and then from mode of goodness he should try to cultivate the pure goodness, and then so conquering mode of goodness, can be done by cultivating a mode of goodness, and gradually by cultivating mode of pure goodness, even mode of goodness can be conquered. Okay, and Krishna says, in the material world, goodness is always fixed with some amount of passion and ignorance. And these are goodness is always in tinge with passion and ignorance. Whereas Shuddha Sattva or Visuddha, this represents the liberated platform of perfection. So pure goodness is completely on transcendental platform. And Krishna says, and when this living entity situated in mode of goodness, then religious principles become prominent. So how can a person act on religious things? When he is in mode of goodness. And one can strengthen this mode of goodness by cultivating of things that are in mode of goodness. So how can we strengthen this mode of goodness? By cultivating things which are in mode of goodness. So if we associate ourselves more with the mode of activities, or mode of passion and mode of ignorance, we will strengthen those two. And the similar way, when we cultivate or we act on the things which are in mode of goodness, then we'll strengthen the mode of goodness. And Krishna says, how can we do that? How can we cultivate those things? He explains here that by choosing our food, he's choosing our attitude, choosing our work, recreation, etc. Basically, all our activities strictly in mode of goodness, and one will become situated in that mode. So when we start, analyzing our activities and trying to elevate ourselves from mode of passion or ignorance towards mode of goodness, it's a kind of everyday effort, right, towards achieving there. And then Krishna says that by this the living entity can destroy the influence of mode of ignorance and mode of passion. So that's the way Krishna explains that by how can we conquer mode of ignorance and mode of passion. And once a living entity overcome this mode of ignorance and mode of passion, then what happens? Irreligion is quickly vanquished. So definitely, if person is in mode of ignorance, they won't be doing irreligious activities, right? So there's basically outcome that religion is quickly vanquished. And then Krishna explains about 10 items according to the quality of religious scriptures: water, one's association with one's children or with people in general, the particular place, the time, the activities, the birth, meditation, chanting of mantras, purificatory rituals, the mode of nature. This becomes prominent differently. So these are the places, kind of depending upon our activities and time, something becomes prominent. And Krishna says the great sages, they recommend those that are in mode of goodness. So even from these 10 items, like uh, these are the recommended by the great sages, and we should practice in mode of goodness. And they criticize and reject those in the mode of ignorance, right? So what he says is these are the 10 items, and even in 10 items there are the category can goes for mode of passion, mode of ignorance, and mode of goodness. And the great learned sages, they appreciate or they recommend to act in mode of goodness, and they criticize and reject the mode of ignorance. Let's, for example, time, right? For example, time. So morning time, maybe from morning 2 a.m., or you can say as 4 a.m. till 7 8 a.m. or 10 a.m. These are counted as mode of goodness time. People become calm, cool, they have just got up fresh. And then from 10 a.m. till evening 5 or 6 p.m., it counted as passion, because everyone is running after money, everyone is going to job, and trying to do all these things, isn't it? As is a kind of passion. And after that, when sunset goes after from 6 p.m. till midnight and late night, it's called as ignorance. So that's a category of time. So even everything can be, and everything is actually categorized in three modes: passion, ignorance, and goodness. So in a similar way, Krishna is saying that these great sages, they appreciate this mode of goodness activities in these 10 things, and then they criticize and reject the mode of ignorance. So people should try to avoid these things, or which are a mode of ignorance. And then they say that they show indifference to the things which are in mode of passion. And Krishna confirm again, he says then one should cultivate mode of goodness until one becomes perfect. So that's why sadhana is required. That's why regular chanting of the holy name, associating ourselves with the devotees, associating ourselves with this holy scriptures is regularly required. Krishna says that we should cultivate it till we become perfect. So once someone becomes perfect, then this all things is not doesn't matter anymore for him, because he has perfected his life, right? So if we are not on that platform, so by associating with this, we can actually become perfect gradually and gradually. And then what this man is, perfection is that the person realizes atma, and then he destroy illusions of body caused by these three modes. And Krishna says more here. He says about, gives an example how it happens. He says, in a bamboo forest, the wind sometimes rubs the bamboo stacks together and it generates great blazing fire. And then after some time, this fire automatically calms down by its own, isn't it? And then Krishna says, the example making point here is that similarly, the interactions of these metal modes of nature, the subtle and the gross metal bodies, are generated. By this attraction of these three modes, we get body accordingly. And then Krishna says that use our mind and body to cultivate knowledge, and by such enlightenment, we can destroy the influence of three modes. So we have got this body depending upon our modes of nature and how are we interacting with that. And however, if we cultivate this knowledge, then we can actually destroy the influence of these three modes too. And as if the fire, like the fire, the body and mind, they are pacified by their own actions in destroying the source of their worth. So in that way, what will happen, as the fire destroy and it calm down, in a similar way the mind and body, they will become pacified, because if someone's destroy this entanglement of these three modes, his activities become very pious, or it can become in pure goodness, and then he can destroy the source of their birth, isn't it? The source of their birth is these three modes. The way we are engaging in these three modes, it's becoming the source of birth. So we can transcend this, and then we can actually go back to Krishna's Dham. And after hearing all this, Uddhava asked another question. So this again a discussion happening within Krishna and Arjuna. He asks another question. He says, "My dear Krishna, generally human beings know that this material life brings great future unhappiness. Still, they try to enjoy material life. And my dear Lord, how can one in knowledge just like act like this, a dog, an ash, and or a goat?" So point is, Krishna, Uddhava is asking that human beings, they know very well that happiness, unhappiness is there, but still they try to enjoy it. And how can someone destroy it? Please let me know. Please explain me. So and he says, why living entity try to enjoy despite of suffering? Still we are suffering, but still we are hankering to enjoy. We wanted to enjoy it. Then Krishna says that this is because of ignorance. So ignorance is the root cause. So what is ignorance? Ignorance of false identity, thinking as myself as this body, is the first ignorance, and that is the root cause. And when we think ourselves as the body, then the mind become contaminated by passion. And then once mind is contaminated by passions, it actually uh, uh, this body becomes absorbed in this material advancement, and then material desires goes unlimited. And then once desire goes unlimited, we get entangled in that, and then we try to fulfill the desires, and then get again, fulfill the desire and get again and again and again. And Krishna says solution as well. This is a problem. The problem or root cause is the ignorance of identity. Who am I? That's a basic question. And then Krishna says solution is the person should carefully bring the mind under control, and a person should be attentive and grave and never lazy or morose. And the actual yoga system as taught by my devotees headed by Sanat Kumara is simply this: having withdrawn the mind from all the other objects, one should directly and appropriately absorb it in me. So he says that this Sanat Kumara, they explained it very, very, very simply. The conclusion is what? Ena tena prakarena mana Krishna niveshita. So whatever the means is, try to engage the mind in Krishna. And that's being said by Sanat Kumara. Then having withdrawn the mind from all other objects, one should directly and appropriately absorb mind in me, or mind in Krishna. So that's the one line solution to all problem. Engage your mind to Krishna. And then Uddhava says, asks a question. So he says, Lord, when did you, when you met this Sant Kumara, and what did you instructed them, the science of about you, about yourself? So please, I want to hear all those narration as well. Right. So I think we can continue for a couple of more minutes. Let's see. So Lord said, once these four Kumara, they approached to their father Brahmaji, and they asked a question. And they asked a question saying that the senses and sense object, they are mutually attracted, and how to destroy this mutual relationship. Very, very important and very, very puzzling question as well. And then Lord Brahma, he fixed his mind in Krishna, because as he was not able to answer this puzzled question, and it puzzled his mind as well. So he meditated on Vishnu, and Lord came him in the form of Haṁsa or Swan, I think it's Haṁsa-avatāra. So Krishna came in the form of Haṁsa, and when Krishna came in the form of Haṁsa, these four Kumaras with Brahmaji, they saw Krishna and they paid their respect, and then after that they ask a question, who are you? And Lord answers him saying that if you think me as a living entity, as a jiva, then your question is useless, because I am Supreme Lord. And he says, I am not Lord, so I am not jiva. I am, if I am soul, there is no difference between me and you, right? And Krishna says that you are referring me to the body, then I am not his body as well, because as all material bodies are constitute of 5 elements: earth, water, fire, air, ether. So you should ask not who are you, you should ask who are you 5. So if you are the I'll try to make it understand more clearly. Lord Krishna says that no, if you think me as living entity, as a jiva, then its question has no base, because I am not jiva. I am super soul, or I am I am supreme truth. I am Krishna. I am supreme personality of Godhead. And if you're asking about my body, that who are you, then you should ask me who are you 5, because this body consists of 5 elements. And the Lord says, so all of you, please understand this by straightforward analysis of the fact. So within this world, whatever is perceived by mind, speech, eyes, and other senses is me alone, and nothing besides me. So everything has base in me, and soul, a living entity, is a part and parcel of me. And the spirit soul is trapped in the bondage of mental intelligence, which awards him constant engagement in illusory modes of nature. That's these three modes nature. And I am beyond all this. And according to my instructions, one should fix the mind in me alone. And however, if one continues to see many different values and goals in life rather than seeing everything within me, then although apparently awake, one is actually dreaming due to incomplete knowledge. Just as one may dream that one has awakened from a dream. So again, Krishna is saying the same thing repeatedly, that if you do not understand me or do not try to understand me, then you are still dreaming, still sleeping. And anything in this material world has a base in me. Nothing is baseless, right? And then Krishna says, a self-realized soul, however, who is awakened to the absolute reality and who is thus highly situated in the perfect stage of yoga, will never again surrender to the material body and its manifold manifestations, knowing it to be just like a body visualized in a dream. So Krishna says again, a self-realized person, he become he's transcendent from these three modes, and he doesn't think himself as material body. And Krishna says, I am Vishnu. So he concludes him saying that I am Vishnu, and I appeared before you desiring to explain you about this actual religious duty. So what Krishna has told earlier to Uddhava, and then Uddhava asks again questions, when did you came to meet these four Kumaras and Brahmas to answer them? Then Krishna clarified that I came some time back when these four Kumaras, they asked a question to Lord Brahma, and Lord Brahma meditated on me, and I came there. And then by saying that, Lord concludes saying that I am the shelter or supreme shelter of yoga system, analytic philosophy, virtuous action, truthful religious principles, power, beauty, fame, and self-control. So I'm all in all. And Lord concludes saying that thus all the doubts of the sages headed by Sanaka Kumar were destroyed by my words, and fully worshipping me with transcendental love and affect devotion, they chanted my glories with excellent hymns. Then I returned back. So that's how Krishna explains about how Krishna came as a Haṁsa-avatāra and answered the questions of son of Brahmas. So sorry for taking some 5 more minutes today as well. And anyone have any questions or thoughts? We'll continue tomorrow from chapter 14.
Hare Krishna Prabhuji.
Hare Krishna Prabhuji.
Prabhuji, I don't know how to put this question. Like, so as a person, like as I say, as a person like Uddhava, even say like it's quite difficult to control the senses and be think over means material things. So if Krishna as a Lord really want us to come towards him and love means towards him, why he makes so much difficult, like in maybe in millions someone reach to that level? So if he really wants, then why the things are so complex?
Nice question, Prabhu. Very, very good question, actually. So first point is Uddhava is he's completely absorbed in Krishna's thought. So maybe you can put in that like Uddhava is actually asking questions on behalf of us because it's actually making us difficult. And Uddhava is right now, Krishna is living back to his spiritual world, his abode. So he's in a pain as well. So that's why he's asking Krishna's instructions to more how to follow when Krishna's go back to his abode, right? And the second question, why it become difficult? So it's not difficult. The difficulty part is within us. That's Krishna's give us a free will. If we really want to take this path of self-realization, Krishna will make us very, very clear. So the point why it becomes difficult, that we try to manipulate, we try to speculate what scripture says, right? Even if you see, I was just today thinking sometime back, Krishna says very clearly that Aham sarvasya prabhavo mata sarvam pravartate. So Krishna says everything is in me and I am in everything. So still we are so bewildered that we don't accept what Krishna says. Right? Krishna says very clearly in chapter 4 as well, Janma karma chame devyam yobam ye viji tattvato tekta deham punara janma neti mamesu Arjuna. Krishna says that anyone who try to understand my birth and appearance, isn't it, as transcendental, that person goes back to the spiritual world. But we ask so many questions about Krishna, why this and why this, and how can we believe in Krishna, who is God, why Krishna is God, and why not others is God. So these are the questions within us. We try to kind of think ourselves as more superior to Krishna's word. That's why things become difficult. If we fix our mind in Krishna's words clearly, then Krishna says, if you see in just previous chapter we discussed that Krishna says all this understanding of theories and the Vedas and everything, you may be very, very good at everything, but if you do not take shelter at me, then everything is useless. You won't be able to get me. And Krishna says very clear instruction that just by associating with my devotees, by hearing and chanting my glories, someone can transcend these three modes. So there is no problem, isn't it? So the problem is within us that we are going away from Krishna. Krishna eagerly waiting for us to come back to his spiritual world. The scripture suggests that if we take one step, Krishna takes 10 steps, even 100 steps towards us. So, and Krishna don't want to force us that, okay, you do it, right? Krishna, if I was discussing sometimes back with one of devotees, maybe a long time, and I asked him a question, no, Prabhu, why these people don't understand these things? Then he told that, if it is in our hand, then we would put a stick on everyone's back and ask them, okay, chant holy name, because holy name is going to deliver us. But the problem is we don't have faith in holy name. That's why the result is right. So Krishna is definitely willing. Nothing is difficult. Krishna is completely willing us to go back. Krishna has given so many kind of relaxation for us. Even if you see in this Kali Yuga, especially, Chaitanya Mahaprabhu says we don't have to give up anything. Jare dekho tare kaho Krishna upadesh. Wherever you are, in whatever condition you are, just say about Krishna. Right? No one is saying us to go give up your family association. No one is saying us to give up your job. No one is saying us to give up your society, go back to Himalaya, meditate for years and years. No. Wherever we are, whatever conditions we are, just if we take the shelter of holy name, understand that what Krishna is saying, right? Krishna is saying very clearly that, just by hearing my names, by glorifying my activities, you can transcend these three modes. Prabhu, that makes sense?
Yes, Prabhuji. Hare Krishna.
Prabhu, I have a question.
Yes,
Prabhu, now see, when you say that Lord Brahma meditated on Sri Krishna and Sri Krishna came on as Haṁsa-avatāra, but Sri Krishna created Lord Brahma. You said that for creation, he divided himself into three: Brahma, Vishnu, and Maheshwar. And so, why did Brahma did not directly go to Sri Krishna and asked him? I mean, why did he have to meditate, and why did Krishna have to come as Haṁsa-avatāra in order to answer their questions?
So these are the pastimes what Krishna plays. So Krishna, if he wants, he can do anything by, if Krishna wants, even he can create, annihilate, and destroy this whole universe by his own will. It's being said that Bhruguti, the eyebrows, just by flickering of eyebrows, the whole universe can be, smashed out. If that's the Krishna's will. However, Krishna, he just wanted to enjoy this pastime, so he make all these things otherwise, isn't it? So Krishna, as said, Krishna can do whatever he wishes. Today I was hearing lecture, Prabhupada says that our senses are defective and eyes cannot eat. For eating, we need our mouth. Our ears is only for hearing, isn't it? Nose only for smelling. But Krishna's senses are transcendental. He can do any activity from any senses. So if Krishna wishes to, even Krishna could have inspired Brahma to answer him, because he's already there in Brahma as well. And Brahma also is one of the avatar, as Guna avatars. So just to make more clear instructions to the Sanat Kumara, Krishna came as Haṁsa-avatāra.
Prabhuji, one last
Thank you,
question.
Prabhu. Thank you, Prabhu.
Yes, please.
Prabhuji, the previous question that Prabhuji asked, like, why is it difficult to get Krishna? Like, okay, we are fortunate enough, like we are able to at least know about Bhagavad Gita, get the association devotees. But there are other religions, where people are born in other religion. I don't know how to put this. They don't even know about like Lord Śrī Kṛṣṇa or Bhagavad Gita or something like throughout the life. So how does this work then?
Yeah, that's a nice question. I think that's why if you see Srila Prabhupada, he has roamed around all the countries in this world just to spread the message about Krishna, because he said that Krishna is the supreme and everyone should know about Krishna. See, Lord Jagannath, I always relate this question to Lord Jagannath. Lord Jagannath is called as Jagannath. He's not a Nath of Odisha or Nath of Puri. It's Nath of Jagannath, means he's Nath of all universe. So all universe should know him, right? And that is the real purpose of Krishna consciousness movement, the Hare Krishna movement, to make aware about all these people in this universe, to know about Krishna consciousness and to know about who Krishna is. And that's why even all the devotees in the society of ISKCON are trying best to spread this message. And it's a humble request for everyone, to you as well, please spread the message of Krishna consciousness. And that is the way, and this is the prediction of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu himself, that in every town and village my name will be sung. So, and we can see it by the mercy of Srila Prabhupada, it's actually happening every now and then and everywhere as well.
Yeah. Thank you, Prabhuji.
Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna, Prabhu.
I think we have gone a bit late today. That's okay. Thank you.
And I also want, Prabhu, that everyone in the world should say Jagannath.
Yeah, definitely. Okay.
Jai Jagannath.
I think tomorrow is very, very auspicious day as well. It's Ramanavami.
Yes.
Yeah. So yes, when I say Ramanavami, Monica is, I know. That's nice. So that's how Krishna says, we are attached to one of the form of Lord, some or other, isn't it? So that's very, very good actually. So because we are somehow or other linked with Krishna in a different way. So someone is attached to Lord Jagannath, someone's to Lord Gopal, someone's to Lord Nrsimhadev, someone's to Sri Ram. That's the way of life it is. So, but everything is Vishnu Tattva, so that's all good. Thank you, everyone. Grantharaj Srimad Bhagavatam ki
Jai.
Srila Prabhupada ki
Jai.
Canto Koti Vaishnava Vrinda ki
Jai.
Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna, Prabhu.
Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna.